Good morning. Welcome to another episode of the Electric Bison, talking about nuclear war again. I've been fascinated by this eagle. Reminds me of that cartoon of the little mouse, waving off the eagle at the last minute. It's a great sculpture, great bird. Today's Easter all over the world. And all over the world it's now a time when people are celebrating renewal. And if you were to Google or ask your AI to give you the top 100 celebrations of Easter or spring or equinox, you'd be amazed. All over the world, people are being hopeful. It's really a time of hope. And today's when I thought I would do something that is hopeful for me. And that's to ask all of you to consider doing what you can to get our president and the leaders of the other 8 nuclear weapon states to sign the treaty prohibiting nuclear weapons. 96 nations that have no nuclear weapons have already signed, not including Iran. But the 9 that have nuclear weapons, they're not doing it yet. And even the Democrats in this country have not signed. Biden didn't sign it. And it's a matter of giving up power, right? Of yielding, of not being afraid, of not being criticized. So what I was going to do is next week, as the time comes around for new resolutions for the political party that I'm involved in, I had planned to put together a resolution supporting the idea of signing the treaty prohibiting nuclear weapons. But I've thought a lot about it, and I think that even if, I don't know how it's going to happen. I really don't. I sent a letter to President Trump, and I said, look, this is going to get you out of purgatory sooner. This is going to get you a Nobel Peace Prize. They're not interested. And whoever supports this, whichever political parties, Republican or Democrat or Libertarian or Green, Independent, it's all about power. As long as people are trying to get more power, they're going to want to keep nuclear weapons, right? So I'm going to take a different tack. I'm thinking this is something we need to do on Easter, as if we're on an island out in the middle of the Pacific Ocean. Nobody to talk to, plenty to eat, but nobody to talk to, nothing to do. So, you know what they do? They put a note in a bottle. Sometimes bottles wash up on far shores, and people read the letters to loved ones, 50 years after the fact. So, I'm going to read this resolution that I was planning to submit to the party that I'm a member of. And then we're just going to put it in the bottle. A resolution for a secure and nuclear-free future. Whereas the catastrophic humanitarian and environmental consequences of any use of nuclear weapons would be long-lasting, global, and irreversible. Whereas nuclear weapons pose an existential threat to humanity, and their continued existence increases the risk of nuclear detonation by accident, miscalculation, or design. Whereas the United Nations Treaty on the Prohibition of Nuclear Weapons, TPNW, which entered into force on January 22, 2021, fills a critical gap in international law by creating a legally binding instrument to prohibit the development, testing, production, possession, stockpiling, transfer, and threat of use of nuclear weapons. Whereas the TPNW complements the Non-Proliferation Treaty by strengthening the non-proliferation norm and fulfilling the obligation to pursue effective measures for nuclear disarmament. Whereas the TPNW places human beings at the center of disarmament by providing for victim assistance and environmental remediation for communities harmed by nuclear testing and use. Whereas the TPNW aligns nuclear weapons with other weapons of mass destruction, such as chemical and biological weapons, which are already subject to comprehensive bans. Be it resolved that we endorse the Treaty on the Prohibition of Nuclear Weapons. Be it further resolved that we, all of us, urge the federal government to sign and ratify the TPNW and to make nuclear disarmament a centerpiece of national security policy. Be it further resolved that we call for the immediate halting of modernization programs designed to extend the lifespan of nuclear arsenals and instead redirect those resources toward human needs, including public health, education, and climate action. Be it further resolved that we advocate for taking nuclear weapons off high alert status, adopting a no first use policy, and ending the sole authority of any single leader to initiate a nuclear strike. And be it further resolved that we commit to educating the public on the catastrophic risks of nuclear weapons and the urgent necessity of global, verifiable abolition. Now, this Easter, like all Easters, all spring celebrations, is a basic thing that we do because we know it's tied to human survival. It's tied to the agricultural cycles. It's important. It's always been important. And all I'm doing is suggesting that we consider the threat to our survival, to our planet's survival, raised by nuclear weapons. So what I'm going to do is what the people on those faraway islands would do. I'm putting this into a bottle. I'm putting it into a bottle, this thing that I just read to you. And I'm going to cork the bottle. Yeah. I'm not going to put it in the eagle's claws because he'll just drop it somewhere and there'll be some glass shards for somebody to step on. But I am going to take it down to the recycling center and I'm going to put it in with all the other bottles. What's going to happen is this bottle with this resolution of ours is going to go into a recycling process that'll turn it back into sand, which is really pretty basic on our planet and in our universe. And then maybe just the act of doing that will cause people to have more hope instead of kidding ourselves in the absence of a resolution against nuclear weapons. Thank you.